Hey guys, I'm Zormo and I'm back with another entry in the Oldschool Runescape Slayer Encyclopedia. Today we are going to be covering Aviansies or Aviansies, however you want to pronounce that. They are flying bird creatures that fight for the god Armidale, and in order to receive them as a Slayer task, you will need to unlock them by paying 80 Slayer points at any Slayer Master. Once you've done that, they can be assigned as a task by Cheldar, Konar, Neville Steve, and Duradel. And they can also be given as a wilderness task by Christilia. So there you go. Let's hop right in to the normal Aviansies. Basically, there are quite a lot of them. So Aviansies come at a combat level of 69, 71, 73, 79, 83, 84, 89, 92, 94, 97, 131, 137, 148. And their max hits, I'm not going to go through each one individually, but the lowest level one has a max hit of 8 and the highest level one has a max hit of 16. They're all aggressive unless you are wearing a piece of Armidale equipment. None of them can poison you. They all have an attack speed of 4, and the Slayer XP, again, I'm not going to go through each one, but the lowest Slayer XP you'll get is 63 per kill, and the best Slayer XP you'll get is 139 XP per kill. And none of these are immune to poison or venom. So where can you find the Aviansies? So basically there are 36 spawns in the standard God Wars dungeon. 16 of these spawns are in the central area with monsters from the other 3 gods roaming around. And the other 20 spawns are actually in the Armidale's Eyrie, the bit where it's basically just Armidale creatures that you need to swing across with a grapple to get to there. To get to the standard God Wars dungeon, you can use the Trollheim teleport, which requires level 61 magic and completion of the Edgar's Ruse quest. Once you've teleported to Trollheim, you can then climb down the east side of the mountain, put on your Protect from Missiles, and run north past the Thrower Trolls. You can then go up the northeast valley until you reach a large boulder, which requires 60 strength to move out of the way, or you can use the shortcut instead, which requires level 60 agility. If you don't have 60 strength or 60 agility, you will not be able to access the God Wars dungeon. Once you've got past one of those 2 obstacles, you will need to continue north through the snow and the aggressive wolves that are there, and then you'll go down into the dungeon. If it's your first time going to the God Wars dungeon, you will need to bring a rope to get in, and also keep in mind that the snowfall will drain your stats on just before you enter the God Wars dungeon, unless you have completed the Making Friends with My Arm quest and then built the Fire of Unseasonal Warmth, which will basically stop the stat drain. So if you haven't done that quest and you haven't built the bonfire, then it's recommended to bring at least 1 super restore potion just to get your stats back once you enter the dungeon. Alternatively, if you haven't unlocked the Trollheim teleport, you can just teleport to the Berthorpe Games Room using a games necklace, and then take the path northwest out of Berthorpe. You'll see an injured soldier. You can then turn southwest. You'll then go through Tenzig's house, over the stile, through the mountains, through Dad's Arena, before you can head north, and you'll get to Trollheim Mountain, and then follow the same steps that I just mentioned. If you are taking this route, though, bear in mind you will need to bring climbing boots, otherwise you won't be able to climb over some of the obstacles in the mountains. Also, if you are planning on going into the Armidale's Eyrie, the actual sort of the room mainly where all the Aviansies are located, you will need a mithril grapple and a crossbow, and that shortcut does require level 70 range to get into that area. The only other place you can kill Aviansies is in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon. There are 8 spawns there in the northern corner of the room. You can get there by using the Dariak teleport and then running north, and then run northeast. You can then also use the Wilderness obelisks instead. The closest obelisk is in level 27 Wilderness. That's just southeast of the dungeon entrance. So you can get the obelisk teleport there. You could also using a burning amulet to teleport to the bandit camp if you want to, and then if you go run up the west side of the camp northwards, and then you'll get to the dungeon entrance just there. So when you're fighting Aviansies, what are you going to want to do? So Aviansies are airborne, so they can't be attacked with melee at all, and it's highly advised to kill them with ranged rather than magic. So if you're killing them in the standard God Wars dungeon, you should wear your best range gear, such as Armidale armor or Blessed Godhide. A necklace of anguish, an archer's ring, barrow's gloves, and an Ava's assembler are all recommended, although these can be downgraded as needed if you don't have those items or can't afford them. A blowpipe is the best weapon to use when killing Aviansies. Adamant darts are sufficient to kill them. You can use mithril darts if you want to, but addy darts they're cheap and faster, so I wouldn't say it's worth it. But if you really want to downgrade to myth darts, then I suppose you can. Don't forget your mithril grapple if you're going to go through to the main area. It's also a good idea to bring a piece of Armadale equipment so the Aviansies are not aggressive towards you. It's also a good idea to bring a piece of Zamorak equipment, as there are a few Zamorak creatures that spawn inside the Armadale area. A piece of Saradomin equipment can also be brought if you want to, because you will need to run past some Saradomin monsters, although once you've got past them you don't need the piece anymore, so it's not as necessary, but you may as well bring it if you've got the space to bring one. The best way to actually bring these god-related pieces of equipment is to use a piece of god d'hide and a blessing as well if you're using a blowpipe and you don't need the slot for bolts. So you could bring, for example, an Armadale godhide top, Zamorak chaps, and then like a Saradomin blessing, and then you're covered for all three types of monsters there. You won't need a Bandos piece because you're not going anywhere near the Bandos area, so don't worry about that. When you're using this gear, you'll just need to bring sort of monkfish or better for food, and you can also bring bones to peaches as well to prolong your trips, because they do always drop bones. Another option is to bring prayer boosting gear such as monk robes or vestment robes, and then use protect from missiles. Then you'll just need to bring prayer potions, and you shouldn't need any food at all. If you're killing them in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon, then obviously you should be bringing a low risk setup, as there is a risk of getting PK'd there. You could use a Slayer Helm, Amulet of Glory, Ava's Accumulator maybe, some monk robes, a blowpipe, Dragonhide van braces, and some snakeskin boots. That'll get the job done. You can also bring a looting bag here, as it is in the Wilderness, and then monkfish or better food again. For both of these locations, it is recommended to bring ranging potions as well, as this will speed up your kills per hour. So what do Aviansies drop? Why would you want to kill them? So they will always drop bones and feathers. They will drop some herbs and runes. They'll drop hard clues at a rate of 1 in 128. They'll drop brimstone keys at a rate of 1 in 292, up to 1 in 90, depending on the combat level of the Aviansie that you're killing. They also drop ensouled Aviansie heads at a rate of 1 in 35 in the standard God Wars dungeon, and a rate of 1 in 20 in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon. Aviansies in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon will also drop ecumenical keys at a rate of 1 in 60, which can be used to enter any of the God Wars boss rooms without needing to get the kill count, so they are pretty useful. You can also high out them for money if you want. So if killing Aviansies as a Wilderness Slayer task from Cristelia, then they will drop Laren's keys at a rate of 1 in 136 to 1 in 88, again depending on the combat level of the Aviansie, and they will also drop Slayer enchantments at a rate of 1 in 264 to 1 in 221. However, the main drop that Aviansies are killed for is the adamant bars drop. So Aviansies will drop 4 adamant bars at a rate of 1 in 4.267, so pretty common drop. Aviansies in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon, they will always drop them noted, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about banking and stuff. You can just get a nice fat stack of adamant bars. Aviansies in the standard God Wars dungeon, however, they will only drop them noted if you have completed the hard Fremenic achievement diary. So I would highly recommend getting that diary done before you choose to unlock Aviansies as a Slayer task, unless you are planning on only doing them in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon. So keep that in mind. That finishes up the standard Aviansie, really. Not much more to say with them. The only other ones that I can mention now, really, are Kriara and his bodyguards, so the actual Armadale God Wars boss itself and the bodyguards that go alongside with him. So there's Kriara, the main guy, and then the bodyguards are Flight Kalisa, Wingman Scree, and Flock Leader Gearin. They all count as Aviansies for a Slayer task. So we'll start with Kriara. He has a combat level of 580. He has a max hit of 21 with magic, 26 with melee, and 69 with ranged. He can use all 3 styles. He is aggressive. He cannot poison you. He has an attack speed of 3. He gives 357 Slayer XP per kill, and he is immune to both poison and venom. And then the 3 bodyguards, so Fight Kalisa has a combat level of 159, a max hit of 15, he only hits with melee. He is aggressive, he cannot poison you, he has an attack speed of 5, he gives 132.5 Slayer XP per kill, and he is not immune to poison or venom. Wingman Scree has a combat level of 143, has a max hit of 16 and only hits with magic, is aggressive, cannot poison you, has an attack speed of 5, gives 124 Slayer XP per kill, and is not immune to poison or venom. And then finally Flock Leader Gearin, combat level of 149, max hit of 25, only hits with ranged, is aggressive, cannot poison you, has an attack speed of 5, gives 132.5 Slayer XP per kill, and is not immune to poison or venom either. When you're actually fighting them, again, similar to the Abyssal Sire, this is not an Armadale God Wars guide, so I'm not going to cover in great detail what to do. We'll just go over some basics that you might want to know if you're interested in doing this. So for fighting them, we'd really recommend you have 80 plus ranged HP and defense, 92 plus magic for blood barrage to heal off the minions when you get low, and 44 plus prayer for eagle eye, because you'll be using ranged obviously. You will need to get 40 kill count or bring an ecumenical key with you to get into the boss room. You will need to keep protect from missiles on at all times whenever Kriara is still alive, otherwise you will die horribly. You will also need to stand in the southwest corner of the room, because Kriara has an attack that will push you back a tile. However, if you stood in the corner, this can't push you back, so you'll be fine. And there's basically two methods when you want to do Armadillo God Wars. So there's the Chin Chomper method, which is the recommended one. So you bring your best range gear that you can and some black Chin Chompers. You stand in the southwest corner of the room, and you wait for all the bodyguards to sort of walk towards you and all clump up on top of each other, and then you can start throwing chins. Now when you throw the Chin Chompers, you want to target Flight Kalisa, because her defense is so low, so it will always hit her, and then the AoE damage of the Chin Chomper will hit everyone else. The AoE damage is not based on the defense of the other creatures, so as long as you're hitting Kalisa's defense, the Chin Chomper will damage everyone else around her. And then you can then finish Kriara off with a blowpipe once there's no more bodyguards to use the AoE attack with the Chin Chomper. Just make sure as well that you are targeting Kree off tick, so when you aren't in the middle of an attack, otherwise he will start using melee on you. So make an attack, target Kree, make an attack, target Kree, otherwise you'll get stomped basically. Again, there are plenty of YouTube guides out there on how to kill Kriara, way better than I can make, so if you're not exactly sure what I'm talking about, go and check out one of those guides. It will make more sense when you actually sort of go and do it yourself. You'll figure it out fairly quickly. The only other way to really do Armadillo without Chin Chompers is just being a ranged tank, so just bring the best range gear you can, bring like a DFS and a Ring of Suffering for the high defense bonuses, and then use Diamond Boltsy or Dragon Diamond Boltsy with a crossbow. Both of these methods you'll need to bring Sara Brews and Super Restores and some ranging potions obviously. For the Chin method though, you will need less brews and more Super Restores, because your kills should be much faster, so you'll end up using less brews overall. You can also choose to go and kill Kriara in a team if you want. If you've got some friends that you can go in a duo or a trio with, it makes it a bit faster, a bit more fun to chat to people while you're killing it. Just bring your best range gear and a crossbow again with some diamond bolts enchanted, and you should be absolutely fine there. Now the actual drops for the Armadillo God Wars bosses. Kriara himself, he will drop Brimstone Keys at a rate of 1 in 50. If you're on a Konar task, he will drop an Elite Clue at 1 in 250. He will also drop either the Armadillo Helmet, Chest Plate, or Chain Skirt. It's a chance of 1 in 127 to get any of those pieces, and it's a chance of 1 in 381 to get a specific piece that you're looking for. The Armadillo Hilt will be dropped at a rate of 1 in 508. The Godsword Shards 1, 2, and 3 will be dropped at a rate of 1 in 254. That's to get any of them. Again, if you're looking for a specific shard, that is going to be a 1 in 762 chance to get the one that you want. It also drops the Pet Kriara at a rate of 1 in 5000, and then it also has a really troll drop of a Curved Bone, which drops at a rate of 1 in 5013. So if you get a Curved Bone, rip, you could have got a pet or a piece of Armadillo, so there you go. Now the bodyguards themselves, they will drop a piece of Armadillo equipment at a rate of 1 in 16,129. So pretty rare to get a piece from them. They'll drop a Godsword Shard at a rate of 1 in 1,524, so again quite rare still. And they'll drop Brimstone Keys at a rate of 1 in 88, and they can also drop Hard Clues at a rate of 1 in 128. So that finishes up the Aviansie guide, really, to be honest. That brings us on to just the interesting fact to go. I couldn't find too much about Aviansies, to be honest. I mean, it's not the most interesting of facts, but it's the only thing I could really come up with. Basically, creatures in the God Wars dungeon will attack other monsters of the other gods, if you didn't know that, if you've never been there. So if one of them is already in combat, then you can just kill them and they won't attack you back until they've killed the monster they're in a fight with. However, Aviansies have an increased sense of danger, so even if they are in combat with another creature, if you hit them, they will start attacking you back immediately. And this trait is shared by all Armadillian monsters. So that's just sort of, fun fact for you guys. Just one more thing to say for you guys, really, and that's that I've been streaming every day of December so far. You can find me at twitch.tv/thezormo. So feel free to come hang out, come talk about the series with me, come chat about anything you like, really. We're slowly building up a small community of people. It's been a lot of fun to be talking to people in the chat while I'm playing Runescape. So if you have some free time and you fancy coming by, feel free. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching this episode, and I will see you in the next entry.